Most people make one AI ad, watch it flop in the feed, and decide the whole approach doesn't work. That's the wrong read. One ad was never the move. The move is a batch. A dozen plus angles built off a single product link, cheap enough that you can actually find the one that converts, instead of betting your budget on one guess. What actually stops you flinching at a bad week isn't a sharper guess, it's volume. A wall of cheap shots on goal, cheap enough that a single flop barely registers. I'm Marcus, and a few minutes from now, you'll be looking at exactly that. A folder of finished UGC video ads, everyone built off one product page, ready to push into a real test. Not a guess you pray over, a stack you put to work. I'll be in Creatify for this. 3 moves, start to finish. First, you drop in a product link and let it write the scripts. Then you set the format and pick a couple of faces to deliver it. Then a wall of finished variants comes back, and you cut it down to the keepers. Let's get into it. There's one mental flip that decides whether a tool like this makes you money or just burns through credits. You are not trying to make the ad. You're trying to make a batch cheap enough to find the ad. Performance creative is a numbers game. Most angles miss, a couple land, and you don't know which until real spend tells you. So the expensive way is to agonize over one perfect ad and pour the budget into it. The cheap way is to generate 15, 20 angles, run a few against each other, and let the winners earn the next round of money. And the economics here aren't close. According to the per credit math, a finished AI video runs you somewhere around $2 an asset. A single ad from a human creator runs $150 to $400. That's not a small gap. That's the difference between testing one idea and testing 30 for the same money. Now here's the catch, and you have to hear this part because it's exactly where people light money on fire. The AI is a discovery tool, not a finishing tool. The realism isn't there yet on close-ups, and the vendor's own guidance found that roughly a third of what it generates you'll throw away. That's fine. That's expected. You're not shipping the raw batch. You're mining it. You generate cheap and wide, you cut hard, and the 1 or 2 angles that actually prove out, those are the ones worth handing to a real creator to shoot properly. Don't pick one or the other. Sequence them. AI to find the winner, humans to scale it. And that whole discovery move, paste a product and get a batch you can mine, is exactly the job this tool is built for. So let's go build one. Quick bit of setup before we build. You don't have to pay to follow along. There's a free tier and it's honest about what it gives you. 10 credits and your videos come out with a watermark on them. But 10 credits is enough to run one product page all the way through and feel the entire flow before you put $1 down. Type in stackauditors.com/creatify and follow me through it. And if you want this to actually stick, don't just watch me do it. Pull it up alongside this and push your own product through as I go. So pick one product page you actually sell, your best one, and have it ready. Because the first move is feeding that link in. First move, paste your product page and let it do the writing for you. You start on the video ad screen and it asks for exactly one thing, a product link. That's the whole unlock. You're not facing down a blank script box trying to invent a hook. You're handing it a page that already describes your product in detail, with photos, a price, the whole pitch. So you drop in the URL. Here on screen it's a travel shoe, but this is your best-selling product page going in. The one you already know converts on the site. You paste the link, you let it analyze, and it goes and reads the page for you. Now watch what comes back because this is the part that saves you the most time. It autofills the product details, the brand name, the product name, a full written description in the brand's own voice, and it even pulls the product photos straight off the page into the asset tray, ready to drop into the video. That's 20 minutes of typing and copy pasting it just did in a single pass. You can adjust all of this, sharpen the description, swap which photos it grabbed, drop in your own, but most of the time what it pulled is good enough to run with as is. Here's the one thing worth flagging, because it's exactly where people quietly get burned. That auto-written description is reliable for straightforward consumer products, footwear, skincare, kitchen goods, supplements, the evergreen direct-to-consumer world. The moment you point it at something B2B, or a regulated category, or a product where the exact claims have to be precise, it drifts. It'll write something that reads fine but is subtly wrong, a feature that's not quite real, a claim you can't actually make. So for those, treat the draft as a rough first pass and rewrite it by hand before you go further. For a normal consumer product like this one, what it pulls is solid, and you can move straight ahead. So your product's in, the details are filled, the photos are loaded, everything the tool needs to start writing is now on the screen. Next, we pick the angle. Now you pick the angle, and this is where you actually slow down for a second. With the product loaded, it hands you a set of ready-made scripts. Here it's 4 of them, and each one takes a genuinely different run at the same product. The first leans on the travel experience, where this thing goes, the life around it, the airport, and the road trip. The second leans on versatility, every situation it fits, one shoe for all of it. The third tells the brand story, the heritage angle, where it comes from and why. And the fourth runs straight problem and solution. Here's the pain, here's the fix. Done. 4 angles, same product. Now, the angle is most of the ad. It matters more than the wording, more than the avatar, more than almost anything you'll touch in here. So this is the 10 seconds worth spending. You read each one the way your buyer would, thumb scrolling past it in a feed, and you ask exactly one question. Which of these would stop me? Not which is best written. Which one's angle is right for the person you're actually selling to? If your buyers travel, the travel angle's got a head start. If your whole edge is that the thing does everything, versatility. If people don't know they need it yet, problem and solution does the teaching. You can click in and tweak the wording on any of them, tighten a line, but don't sit here rewriting sentences. The script is the angle, not the words. And here's the move a beginner skips and a pro doesn't. You don't have to settle for one forever. You can run this whole flow again later on a different angle and stack those into the same test. But for your first pass, pick the single strongest angle, lock it, and keep moving. Angles picked, now we make it move. Head into the video settings before you generate, because the format is a 30-second decision that quietly decides whether the output is even usable. There are two things that matter on this screen. First, the aspect ratio, 9:16, 1:1, or 16:9. Pick the one that matches where the ad is actually going to run. If this is for Reels, Stories, TikTok, anything in a vertical feed, that's 9:16, full vertical, and honestly, that's most paid social UGC, so that's the one you'll reach for most. If it's running as a square in a feed, 1:1. What you do not do is render it vertical and plan to crop it down later. You'll cut someone's head off or lose the text, and you'll redo the whole thing. Match the format to the placement right now before you spend the credits. Second, the duration. And there's a real reason to keep this short that has nothing to do with attention span. The AI voice and the avatar hold up for a short read, 8, 12, 15 seconds. But the longer the clip runs, the more the little tells start to surface. The voice flattens out, the cadence goes slightly robotic, the face does something that's just a hair off, and the viewer's gut clocks that something isn't quite human. And that's the moment they scroll. So you keep your first batch short. You're testing hooks anyway, and the hook lives in the first 2 seconds. You do not need 30 seconds to find out whether an angle works. Set it short, set the ratio to the placement, and the structural decisions are locked. Now we pick who delivers it. Now you pick who delivers it. This opens the avatar library. These are the AI presenters that'll actually read your script on camera, and there are a few hundred of them in here. You can filter down, indoor or outdoor, the setting, the energy, the kind of person who fits your product. And this is the call that separates a real test from a waste of credits. Do not pick one avatar. Grab a couple, 2 or 3, that don't look anything alike. A different age, a different setting, a different energy entirely. Watch. I'm selecting 2 here, and you can see it tracking them up at the top. 2 avatars selected. The logic is identical to the script angles. The face delivering your ad is a variable you're testing, exactly like the hook is. The identical script lands completely differently coming from a guy talking in a kitchen versus a woman outdoors with a coffee. If you bet your whole batch on one avatar, you've thrown away half your test before you've spent $1. One more thing while we're choosing. Keep the framing in mind. The avatars read most believable chest up in a real-looking everyday setting. The tight close-up is where the AI tell shows hardest. That's where the eyes and the mouth give it away. So lean toward the ones framed a little wider. So, 2 or 3 different faces selected, your angle locked, your format set. Now you hit generate, and it goes to work. You'll see it building the storyboard, laying out the scenes, stitching your chosen script onto each face you picked. This part takes a few minutes. It's rendering real video frame by frame, not flipping through a slideshow, so you let it cook. When it comes back, you've got your batch. Open your results, and there's the payoff. The batch lands. On screen it says 13 videos generated. Select the ones you want to render. 13 finished UGC ads off one product link in about the time it took to make a coffee. But this is the exact moment that decides whether you got real value or just spent credits, and almost everybody rushes it. So slow down and do the part that actually matters, the cull. You go through every one of them, and you watch them the way a buyer would in the wild, not the way a proud parent watches. Some are going to be genuinely good, some are going to be off. The delivery's stiff, the timing's strange, the face does something uncanny right on the hook. That is normal. Remember what I said, roughly a third of any batch is going to be a dud. That's not the tool failing you. That's the discovery model working exactly the way it's supposed to. You generated wide so that you could afford to throw the bad ones away. So you actually throw them away. You QC every single video before you keep it, and you do not download one you haven't watched start to finish. Because the one you didn't check is always the one with the glitch your audience will notice first. Then, out of the keepers you pick. And you pick like you're running a test, not collecting favorites. Do not keep 3 near identical versions of the same idea. Keep a small handful that each swing at a different angle. The travel hook, the problem and solution, a fresh face carrying it, because those are the ones that actually teach you something when you run them against each other and watch which one the spend rewards. You select those, you render them out clean, and that's it. So here's where you've landed. A small stack of finished, on-brand video ads, everyone built off a single product page, everyone ready to drop straight into your ad account and start testing today. You started with a link. You've got a batch. And not once did you stare at an empty timeline or book a shoot. So if there's a single thing to carry out of this, make it this. You're not hunting for the perfect ad. You're generating a cheap batch to find it. That's the whole shift. A product link writes the scripts for you. The format and a couple of different faces shape it. Then a wall of finished ads comes back and you cull it down to the keepers that earn a test. One link in, a stack of testable ads out. No empty editor to fill, no film crew, no inventing a hook out of thin air. So this is the part where you actually do it. Before this tab closes, take one of your own product pages and push it through. Same address I gave you earlier, stackauditors.com/creatify, and the free tier's 10 credits will carry one product all the way through. Go build your first batch.